Imagine a war where silence could mean death. A war fought not only on the battlefield, but in the shadows of secrecy. Hidden away in an English country house, a man sat in front of endless streams of coded messages. The world had no idea who he was, yet his mind alone was about to change the fate of humanity. This is the story of Alan Turing, the man who cracked the uncrackable and gave birth to the age of computers. Alan Turing is remembered today as the father of modern computer science, a codebreaker who helped defeat the Nazis, and a man persecuted for who he was. His story is one of brilliance and tragedy, a tale of a man who saw the world differently, thought in patterns of logic and mathematics, and in doing so, reshaped history. In this video, we follow his journey from a lonely boy fascinated with numbers to the genius who unraveled the Enigma code to the tragic end that came far too soon. Alan Matheson Turing was born on June 23, 1912, in Maida Vale, London. His father worked in the Indian Civil Service. His parents spent much of their time in India, leaving young Alan and his brother in England. From the beginning, Alan stood apart. As a child, he displayed signs of unusual brilliance. At school, his teachers grew frustrated with him. He often ignored subjects he didn't like, such as classics and literature, but he excelled in mathematics and science. He devoured advanced problems far ahead of his age. He built makeshift experiments at home. He was fascinated with the natural world, especially how patterns emerge, like the spiral of a sunflower or the spots of a leopard. At Sherborne School, Alan's unconventional thinking clashed with the rigid education system. His headmaster once wrote, "If he is to be solely a scientific specialist, he is wasting his time at a public school." But Alan was undeterred. He thought differently. He saw the world not as rigid rules, but as problems waiting to be solved. During his teenage years, Turing experienced a deep personal connection with a fellow student named Christopher Morcom. Christopher encouraged Alan's curiosity, especially his passion for mathematics. For the first time, Alan felt understood. But in 1930, tragedy struck. Christopher suddenly died from tuberculosis, leaving Alan devastated. He never fully recovered from this loss, yet it became a turning point. In his grief, Alan dedicated himself with renewed intensity to mathematics and science, almost as though continuing their shared dream. After school, Turing attended King's College, Cambridge, where his brilliance began to shine. In 1935, he was elected a Fellow of the college for his work in probability theory. Just 1 year later, he wrote his groundbreaking paper, On Computable Numbers with an Application to the Entscheidungsproblem. In it, he introduced the concept of a universal machine, a theoretical device that could compute anything that was computable. Today, we know this as the Turing Machine, the foundation of modern computer science. At just 24 years old, Turing had already imagined the future, computers that could perform any task given enough time and instructions. But his journey was only beginning. The world was moving toward war, and soon Turing's genius would be called upon to fight an enemy unlike any other, the Nazi Code. By 1939, the world was on the brink of collapse. Europe plunged into World War II, and Nazi Germany seemed unstoppable. Their secret weapon wasn't just tanks or planes. It was the Enigma machine, a device that encoded messages with nearly impossible-to-break codes. For every message sent, the odds of decoding it were astronomical. Allied leaders needed a miracle. That miracle arrived in the form of Alan Turing. Turing joined Bletchley Park, Britain's secret code-breaking center. It was a sprawling estate turned into a hive of intelligence activity. Here, mathematicians, linguists, and puzzle enthusiasts worked day and night. The air was tense. Failure could mean millions of lives lost. Turing's brilliance immediately stood out. Unlike others, he didn't rely on guesswork. He thought in machines and logic. He began designing a machine capable of automating code breaking. He called it the bomb. The bomb could run through thousands of Enigma settings in hours, a task impossible for humans alone. Every tick of the machine brought hope. Every successful decryption was a small victory against a seemingly unstoppable enemy. Despite the pressure, Turing's personal life remained complicated. He was secretly gay at a time when homosexuality was illegal in Britain. This secret weighed heavily on him. Yet his focus never wavered. Day and night, Turing worked alongside brilliant minds like Dilly Knox and Joan Clark. Together, they cracked the Enigma codes piece by piece. The work was grueling and often dangerous. One wrong leak, one careless word, and the Nazis would adapt their codes, sending countless lives to the battlefield. Turing understood the stakes. His mathematical mind, combined with his unyielding determination, allowed breakthroughs that saved millions. In 1940, a turning point arrived. Turing realized that Enigma messages contained predictable patterns, known as cribs. By exploiting these patterns and running the bomb, the team achieved the first major breakthrough. Messages from German U-boats in the Atlantic were decrypted. The British Navy could now anticipate attacks, avoiding disaster after disaster. The war continued, and Turing's methods evolved. He adapted the machines, invented new statistical techniques, and coordinated with intelligence operatives across Europe. By the end of the war, it's estimated that his work shortened the conflict by at least 2 years. Millions of lives were spared, though the world would only learn of his contributions decades later. Yet even amid success, challenges persisted. Turing was often frustrated by bureaucracy, the secrecy of his work, and a society that could not accept who he truly was. He faced prejudice, isolation, and misunderstanding. Still, he pressed on. The mind that had imagined the Turing machine now helped defeat real-world machines of war. Bletchley Park was the stage where Turing's intellect met human endurance, courage, and secrecy. It was here that history pivoted, not with a gun or a tank, but with logic, perseverance, and imagination. The war ended in 1945, and Europe began to rebuild. Victory was celebrated, but Alan Turing's work remained a secret. Few knew that it was his mind that had shortened the war by years and saved millions of lives. Turing did not rest. His thoughts now turned toward the future. He joined the National Physical Laboratory, NPL, in London, where he designed one of the first electronic digital computers, called the ACE, Automatic Computing Engine. This machine could store programs and process data, ideas that would shape the computers we use today. Turing's vision was clear. Machines could simulate any process of reasoning. In essence, he imagined artificial intelligence decades before it became a reality. In 1950, Turing published a groundbreaking paper, Computing Machinery and Intelligence. In it, he asked a simple yet profound question: can machines think? To explore this, he proposed the Turing Test, a method to determine whether a machine could imitate human intelligence convincingly. Today, this remains a cornerstone of AI research. Yet despite these towering achievements, Turing's personal life faced unimaginable trials. In 1952, he was arrested for homosexuality, which was then illegal in Britain. He was given a choice: imprisonment or chemical castration. Turing chose the latter, enduring hormone treatments that caused physical and emotional suffering. This period of his life was marked by isolation, stigma, and heartbreak. On June 7, 1954, Alan Turing died at the age of 41. The official cause was cyanide poisoning, widely believed to be suicide, though some debate remains. The world had lost one of its greatest minds too soon, a visionary who had seen the future and tried to bring it to life. Despite his tragic end, Turing's legacy could not be erased. Decades later, governments and institutions began recognizing his contributions. In 2009, the British Prime Minister Gordon Brown issued a formal apology for the way Turing was treated. In 2013, Queen Elizabeth II granted him a posthumous royal pardon. His name now adorns schools, research institutes, and awards. Movies, books, and documentaries have celebrated his life, inspiring generations of scientists, mathematicians, and dreamers. Alan Turing's story is more than mathematics or war strategy. It is a testament to human creativity, resilience, and the power of unconventional thinking. He teaches us that genius often comes wrapped in solitude, struggle, and the courage to imagine the impossible. The machines he dreamed of and built are everywhere today. Every smartphone, every AI assistant, every computer algorithm traces its roots back to Turing's imagination. And perhaps more importantly, his life reminds us of the cost of intolerance and the enduring need for humanity, compassion, and justice. Alan Turing changed the world, not with a sword, but with his mind. His story is a reminder that one person, thinking differently, can alter the course of history. If his journey moved you, give this video a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more stories of extraordinary minds that shaped our world.